Hola clase. So today we're going to look at nouns and articles. This is part of Module 1, Unit 3. And the key concept in terms of nouns in Spanish is the idea of gender. Now, English has gender in some nouns. For example, bull is different from cow, a boy and girl, man and woman. But in Spanish, every noun has gender. So even bicycle or book, table, light, floor, etc. 100% of nouns in Spanish have gender. So one of the things you want to learn when you're studying nouns is to say the noun with the definite article. So school children, kindergarten, pre-kinder in Spanish-speaking countries, they learn the nouns with the article. El libro, book. So in English, we learn the noun by itself because there's only one article, the, or the indefinite a and an. So we just say, for instance, school bus, or classroom, or pencil. But in Spanish, we learn those words as small children with the article. And by learning it with the article, it reinforces the idea of the gender of that noun. For example, el bus, or la clase, el libro, la luz. So by learning the article with the noun, we can associate the gender of the noun with its meaning. If you look here on this page that we created for you, there are some techniques. Most of the time, you can tell the gender of a noun by looking at it. The letter or letters that a noun ends in will tell you the gender most of the time. So you can learn a few rules. For example, this mnemonic device, loners. So in many cases, these letters, L-O-N-E-R-S, will identify a masculine noun. Not always the case, but many times. Feminine nouns can be identified often by the ending a, sion, de, and z, zeta. For example, la chica, la nación. Again, there are exceptions. So these are just general rules that you can use at the beginning. Eventually, you will learn the gender of a noun for every noun that you learn. Every new noun that you incorporate into your active vocabulary will come into your usage with the appropriate gender. Bien. Some exceptions. Now, there are some nouns that don't change ending with masculine and feminine. These nouns always refer to people, usually occupations or professions, and we change the gender of the noun simply by changing the gender of the article. For example, el estudiante, the male student, la estudiante, the female student. The second thing you need to know about nouns in Spanish is that they exhibit singular and plural, just like in English. So for example, el libro is singular. When we make it plural, libros, we make the article plural as well, los libros. El libro, los libros. In English, we only make the noun plural, the book, the books. In Spanish, both change. Nouns can be masculine or feminine, since we have those two genders in our nouns. And they can also be definite, the, el, la, los, las, and indefinite, a or an in the singular, and some in the plural. And again, masculine and feminine. So here's a chart. You have masculine, indefinite and definite, un, unos, el, los, and feminine, una, unas, la, las. So the two concepts, to recap, the two concepts that you're learning for nouns are gender, every noun has a gender, and learning the noun with the article so that it reinforces the idea of the gender for you. El libro, la universidad, el profesor, la profesora, etc. Be sure to do your pre-exercises when they're due. And we're going to take a look at 3 handouts that we'll be using in class if you're taking this in the live online version. So let me open them here. The first one is going to be the genders. So we've included here some general rules. You don't have to learn all these rules. It's not even comprehensive, but it does cover most of the cases. But again, you'll learn the gender as you learn the nouns. You don't need to worry about it too much, but keep it as a reference guide. If you're stumped on a word, you don't know what gender it is, just look it up here and chances are you can figure it out. It has all the rules that we covered already and some practice. So we want to look at the ending of the word and see if we can determine what gender it is. So for example, let's look at cordero, cordero. Cordero ends in an O, so chances are it's masculine. So I would put here M, masculine. Programa, programa was here. Programa ends in an A, so you would think maybe it's feminine, but in fact, it's one of the exceptions that we looked at. These endings in ma, programa, teorema, etc., are masculine. The OR ending is masculine as well, by analogy with profesor. So if you see OR, you know it's masculine. Profesor, profesor, motor, motor. So we'll work through a few. We won't do, none of you will have to do all of these in class. Each group will pick a few, maybe 5 at most, and try figuring out the gender based on the ending. This will tell you or teach you one of the fundamental aspects of Spanish, the second one. Remember last module, I'm sorry, same module, but last unit, I explained one of the fundamental aspects of the language. And another one is the fact that the ending of the word is very important. So the ending of the word often tells you a lot of information. In the case of nouns, it often reveals the gender of the noun. So you want to learn these. Explosión, feminine. Very good. The second handout that we will look at is the plural. And again, there are 3 options. A noun may add an S to become plural. For example, if the noun ends in a vowel, it's going to simply add an S, la casa, las casas, el sonido, los sonidos. If the noun ends in a consonant, it's going to add ES, right? A vowel plus consonant. So el pizarrón, los pizarrones. La luz, las luces. The Z always changes to C when we make a word plural. La luz, las luces. And in some cases, nothing will happen to the noun. So for instance, el lunes, Monday, los lunes, Mondays. Notice that the noun is the same, only the article has changed from el, here, to los. But the noun itself has remained the same. So that's also, it may happen. So here we have the 3 options: adding an S, adding an ES, or leaving the word alone and simply changing the article. Those are the 3 things to consider. So in this exercise, we will practice 2 ways. One is taking a word from singular to plural. This is very easy. So we make the article plural, las, and the noun ends in a vowel, so we add S, las alfombras. El cartel ends in a consonant, so we add ES, los carteles, just like that. A little bit more difficult is going from plural to singular, because we don't know, unless we know the vocabulary, if the word ended in a consonant originally or in a vowel. So for instance, Azores, hawks, did the word in the singular end in an E, or did it end in the R? Well, since we don't know that, it's a little bit tricky. I'll tell you that in the case of this one, it ended with or. And you can see the gender there, just like profesor, that this word is masculine. So the word for hawk is masculine, un azor. So you're right here, un azor. Very good. And lastly, we want to practice the articles in the context of the vocabulary for this unit, which was the university and classes. So we're going to have 3 pictures here. One, picture of a desk. We want to find 5 items that we can name from our vocabulary list and put them here with the article, the indefinite article. So for instance, this is a portátil, una portátil. I can say it like that. In this one, we want to pick 5 student items, items that students use. So look around the class, look around at what the people are holding in their hand or have on their desk or on their back, and mention 5 student items with the definite article. So for instance, I could say libro. Maybe this lady is holding her book, libro, el libro, like that. And then in this one, we have to use our imagination a little bit. Imagine this is a campus bookstore and you're there to buy the textbooks for your different classes. So think of 5 subject matters that you might find in the college bookstore. Here's a rack of maps. So maybe you would pick la geografía. You're going to use the definite article and the subject matter. La geografía. And look at our vocabulary list and come up with 4 additional ones. We'll be doing this in class in small groups. If you're taking this class alone online, you may want to practice this on your own as well. Muy bien, pues, es todo por ahora. Hasta pronto.